So what if I told you the real key to a greener future isn't some new solar panel or a fancy piece of software, but it's actually in the mind of a leader? You know, we all kind of assume that buying the latest green tech is the fastest way to make our companies more sustainable. But what if that's exactly the wrong way to think about it? Today, we're going to dig into the surprising reason why so many expensive digital sustainability projects just don't deliver. And spoiler alert, it has way less to do with the tech itself and a whole lot more to do with the people in charge. All right, let's get into it.
And look, the stakes here are incredibly high. To put this into perspective, the research we're looking at focused on Australian healthcare, and what it found was pretty staggering. The healthcare sector is responsible for 7% of the entire country's greenhouse gas emissions. I mean, think about that. When a sector that critical has such a massive footprint, finding solutions that actually work isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an emergency.
And this brings us right to the heart of the paradox. We pour millions and millions into digital tools that are supposed to reduce waste, save energy, and make everything more efficient. And yet, the results are often, well, pretty disappointing. So why is there this huge gap between the promise of green tech and the reality of its impact? That's the big mystery we're going to solve today.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll break down this green tech paradox. Then we're going to introduce you to the real hero of this story, the digital leader. After that, we'll get into their playbook, looking at two crucial steps, tech alignment and digital innovation. Then we'll put all the pieces together to show you how it works. And finally, we'll wrap up with a practical leadership playbook you can actually use. Sound good? Let's go. Okay, first up, the green tech paradox. The research we're diving into makes it really clear that while digital tech has all this amazing potential, the results are all over the place. And sometimes, this is the crazy part, without the right strategy, new tech can actually backfire and have negative consequences. It's kind of like a dark side, where all those good intentions end up leading to more waste, frustration, and ultimately failure.
So if technology isn't the silver bullet we all hoped it was, then what is? Well, the answer might surprise you. It's not a new gadget. It's not a fancy algorithm. It's a person, a very specific kind of leader with a very specific set of skills. The true starting point for all of this isn't a purchase order for new servers. It's a person. So it's time to meet the digital leader.
The researchers have a name for this secret ingredient: digital leadership capability, or DLC for short. But listen, this is not just about being a tech geek. It's this powerful combination of vision, the ability to see how technology can solve really deep problems, and the managerial skill to actually guide people through that messy, difficult human process of change. It's about managing change, not just managing machines. So what does a digital leader actually do? Well, they don't just sit back and approve budgets. They see the future and they drive the change to get there. They're great at leading diverse teams, they know how to jump on new trends, and, this is absolutely key, they build a culture where everyone, from the top down, is actually aware of and committed to those environmental goals. All right, so we've got our digital leader. What's their first most critical move? It's not about chasing the next shiny new thing. Nope, it's something way more fundamental. It's about making sure all the technology, the brand new stuff and the old stuff, can actually work together. This is what we call tech alignment. The study calls this digital technology alignment, or DTA. The best way to think about it is like organizational harmony. It's all about how well your shiny new digital tools fit with your existing systems, your team's skills, and the way you already do business. Because without that perfect fit, even the greatest technology in the world is pretty much set up to fail. And this just lays it out perfectly. The common mistake? Just buying new tech, plugging it in, and kind of crossing your fingers. The strategic approach, the one a digital leader takes, is to carefully align all the technology to create one single, solid, integrated foundation. You see the difference? One is basically gambling. The other is engineering success from the ground up. Okay, so once that strong, aligned foundation is built, then the digital leader can move on to the next step. And this is where the magic really starts to happen. With that stable base in place, they can finally unleash the engine that actually creates brand new green solutions. And that engine is digital innovation. Now, digital innovation isn't just some corporate buzzword. It's the real, tangible creation of new things, better ways of working, smarter products, entirely new services. And it's all powered by those digital technologies that are now finally working together perfectly. This is how you turn cool ideas into real-world environmental impact. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, it could be redesigning a workflow to slash energy use, or using data to build a whole new business model around recycling. Or maybe it's launching a new digital service that gets rid of physical waste entirely. These are the kinds of concrete wins that come from a really well-led digital strategy.
Okay, so we've met the digital leader, and we've seen their first two big moves, alignment, then innovation. So now let's connect all the dots and look at the full chain reaction that these researchers uncovered. This is where it all clicks into place.
And here it is, the four-step path to actually getting it done. It all starts with digital leadership. That leadership then drives technology alignment. Once you have that solid, aligned foundation, it makes digital innovation possible. And it's that innovation that finally leads to real, measurable improvements for the environment. See? It's a clear, powerful chain reaction.
This chart just shows it so well. The research found that digital leadership has a strong, direct impact on sustainability. That's that first bar. But check out the second bar. A really significant chunk of its success comes indirectly through that chain reaction of enabling alignment and then innovation. So leaders aren't just giving orders, they're orchestrating the whole thing. They're creating the conditions for everyone else to succeed. All right, we've seen the theory, we've looked at the data, now let's get real. It's time to turn all this great research into a practical playbook. The key things you can do, the big takeaways for any leader who wants to drive genuine digital sustainability, not just, talk about it.
This quote, right from the study's conclusion, is really the heart of the whole playbook. It says it all. Success isn't about just buying tech. It's about cultivating leadership, demanding that strategic alignment, and building a culture where you're constantly innovating. The technology, that's just a tool. These three things, that's the real strategy.
So if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. If your organization is trying to solve its sustainability problems by just throwing more technology at them, you're not just using the wrong tools, you're trying to solve the wrong problem. At its core, this is a leadership and strategy challenge, and it absolutely demands to be treated like one.
And that leaves us with one last big question for you to take back to your team. Is your leadership truly orchestrating all the different pieces, the people, the processes, the old tech, the new tech, to create sustainable harmony? Or are they just buying the latest instruments and hoping the music somehow plays itself? The answer to that question, well, that makes all the difference in the world.